And I respect that. That gets my respect in a huge way, because there's so many people who are confused that you think that you're going to take a shortcut and your life is going to change. And guess what? I used to be the same too. And I got burnt 3 or 4 times, and I stopped shortcutting. I realized that the main goal of a comedian is to be the funniest person he could be. When I came out here, I booked a pilot and I booked a big-time commercial. But one night I got I got the shit kicked out of me at the Improv in between Nick DiPaolo and Doug Stanhope. And I'll never believe that night, I remember wanting to leave in the middle of the night just to disappear on the road to become a better comic. Like, I took any gig I could for 2 years on the road, from 98 to 2001. I did every shit fucking gig hole I could, because I knew the payoff was going to be funny. It wasn't about the movies. It wasn't about the TV. And that's what I see the biggest fault in this town is with comedians, that they do comedy for 5 or 6 years. They kind of get good on it. Then they get a show and they stop doing comedy. The show ends. Now they can't get work and they want to fall back on comedy, but they're 6 years behind because they never thought about comedy those 6 years. You always continue getting on stage. I always knew that no matter what, if I kept getting on stage, I'd eventually be funny. That's the fucking final result of it. The more you get on stage and put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the funnier you'll become. You know, Kate went to New York, Jersey, the Stress Factory, and tonight she's in Helium. That's like one of the toughest fucking clubs. That's Philadelphia, where you have to bring it. And you know what? People bitch about Kate, bop, 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 bop. But let me tell you something. And I'm going to tell you how people bitch about Kate. That my wife went out one night with Felicia to a comedy club, and a comic said something to my wife. And my wife came home and said, like, what? And I go, listen to me. I go, for every woman that cries about they're not getting spots, or the comedy store doesn't give them spots, there's 20 Sarah Tianas and Kate Quigley's and Esther Koo's that are out every night fucking fighting. When you see them, they're not bitching at all about anything. They're just telling you that they came from doing 2 spots and they came to the comedy store to see if they could get on such and such's belly room show. They're not complaining to me at all. I give those women fucking tons of credit. It's the women that come up to me and go, I can't believe you're still doing spots at the store, because they don't give spots to women. Let me tell you something. Mitzi Shore was a woman. Mitzi Shore gave out fucking spots to women every night. If I saw the schedules from when I first started, I still have them at the fucking house. I got 20 schedules from when I started. And when all this shit started talking, women started talking about the store, I went back and looked at those schedules. It was always the same. 3 women a night, 2 women a night. They're sitting there going, it was like whatever. That's why I give Kate Quigley and Sarah Tiana and the women I put on my podcast the respect that I do. Because when I see them, they're not looking for a handout. They're out there fucking banging it out. And that's the most important thing to me in the fucking world when I see you. So before you come up on Facebook and say to me, hey man, can you do this? Or can I do that? Or I don't even fucking know you. I don't even know you. How can you do something like that and put me in that type of position? And then if I say no, I'm supposed to feel like a fucking bad person. That's not right to me either.
And even if you did know them, you can't. That's not enough to put you on.
Listen, I know 1,000 people who I can put on this fucking podcast that are out there working hard every day. I think about those people constantly because I want to put them on when I can get the most out of them. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? I want to get them on before something that they're doing is blowing up or they're in the process of blowing up. I could put certain comics on here every fucking day if I wanted to. But what's the use? They're not on Twitter. They're not on Facebook. They're not hustling. It's a waste of a fucking guest. Because whatever they're saying is bullshit. They're just trying to fucking get on here because they think it's a one-hit pony. The way people think that if you get on Rogan one time, your life is going to change. No. It's how you act during Rogan, after Rogan. that makes a decision, whatever product you're selling or whatever proof, whatever point you're trying to prove or whatever album you're trying to sell. That's what you get the opportunity on Rogan. But most people think, oh, well, I just go on some of these podcasts and my life will fucking change. That's a horrible way of looking at things. When I was coming up, it was if you went on Letterman or Leno, your life would fucking change. I never fucking emailed them. I knew I'd never get on those shows because I'm not CBS for fucking NBC friendly.
I don't know if it's related, but it seems, cause like since I've started, I see what other young comics are doing, and I've heard like advice you give me, like similarly, like don't go to the store, the Improv, or the Laugh Factory until they ask you to go there. Is it like because you don't want, like, if it's the same thing if they came on here or another podcast, they're there, but they might not be really ready for it yet, even no matter how much you like them.
Well, always remember, when you go to those big clubs, they remember you when you first start, and that's the memory they have of you in their head.
Right.
That's why so many comics are pissed off locally, because they'll start, I'll just say a city like Michigan, and once the hottest club in Michigan don't like them, they have to adjust their game. They have to leave. And they'll ask for years, Jesus Christ, that's my own backyard, and they won't give me a fucking MC spot because they still remember the night you went in there and ate a bag of dicks and then you disappeared. And you might be a little better now. And even though they hear about you and stuff, you weren't part of that clique, so you get fucking dick.
So it's better. I think that's a good way. I mean, but how, like, on the other side of it, though, if you never ask or if you're not being assertive, how do you get into places or how do you get on the podcast?
Honest to God, they hear about you. People talk, Lee. I hear names every other fucking day. By accident, Lee. By accident. I'll bump into somebody in 7-Eleven and they'll say they went to the store the other night and they fucking love Theo Vaughn. That they couldn't believe Theo was so fucking funny.
Right, yeah.
Or Jesus fucking Trejo, I hear his name. Or, you know, when you hear these people, you hear about them. You hear that they're making a wave. They're doing something. They went on somebody's podcast and she shaved the pussy on the podcast. They did something that was true. That's not, I could see through what the motion is. There's people who think they're doing things and they don't know that what they're trying to do. We see it. We were there. We were at your level when we were desperate also. I was desperate many a fucking time. But that doesn't mean I'm going to call Ben Affleck's mother when I do a one-man show in Boston to get Ben Affleck to show up at my show. We're going in like fucking Marines, you understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.